Senator Elizabeth Warren is back with us. I want to try to rush through some presidential campaign. Let's begin with, you are probably going to be a juror in a Senate impeachment trial in January when you were scheduled to be campaigning for president. The impeachment trials usually mean the senators have to physically be present in the Senate chamber the whole time. How do you manage that?
Well, you know, some things are more important than politics. I took a constitutional oath, and that's it. I'll be there.
To the campaign, your colleague, Senator Kamala Harris, was forced to drop out, having trouble financing her campaign. She's nowhere near the lowest in the polls. There's plenty of people below her in the polls who are still in it. A lot of talk of Kamala Harris as a possible vice presidential candidate. Would she be on your short list already?
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, Kamala Harris would be on any Democrat short list. She's smart. She's competent. She's got this terrific voice. And look what she did. I started working with Kamala back during the housing crisis when she was Attorney General of California and I was setting up the consumer agency. And boy, she was a tough advocate for families. And watch what she did during the Kavanaugh hearings, holding our attorneys general accountable, going after Barr, going after Sessions. Kamala's terrific. And I guarantee we're going to hear a lot more from Kamala in a lot of different ways in the coming time.
I want to take a quick look at 12 seconds of video that involves President Trump on the world stage. This was the video that's come out of London. Let's take a look at that. The other world leaders making fun of President Trump. And when President Trump discovered that, he basically fled the scene and didn't do a press conference. Your competitor, Joe Biden, now has a TV ad out showing that the world is laughing at our president. What is your reaction to that?
Donald Trump embarrasses America on the world stage, and he does it repeatedly. And there's a real cost to that. That's not just about being humiliated. It's about what ally wants to work with you, who can trust the word of the American president. And that undercuts everything we try to do. Our allies are important to us because they help magnify what we want to do. Our leadership is important in the world. And it's clear Donald Trump has just burned that at high noon.
The New York Times this week, I think it was the Monday edition, front page of the business section, had some very disturbing news because that is, of course, the billionaire's favorite section of the New York Times. The very disturbing news was that the Warren wealth tax, as the New York Times put it, is the most popular economic policy advocated in the presidential campaign. They're showing a support of 63% total, 77% of Democrats. Amazing. 57% of Republicans support the Warren wealth tax. Where do you think this discussion is going from this point forward in the campaign? I mean, the other candidates watching this have to be thinking about this.
So, look, what this says is people get it, regardless of party affiliation. Democrats, Republicans, Independents, they get it. This government is working great for those at the top, and it's not working for anyone else. That's corruption, pure and simple. It's why I'm in this race. But it's also about our presidential race. You know, billionaires look at that, and you might be surprised to hear they take exception to it. They get on the phone and call other billionaires and say, why don't you run for president? And another one goes on TV and cries about it. But that's the fundamental question.
Wait. Which billionaire cried? Did a billionaire cry?
Oh,
Are you exaggerating?
No, I'm not exaggerating. See the video clips.
All right.
This guy cries. Keep up.
Find me the crying billionaire.
Find the crying billionaire.
Okay,
roll the crying billionaire. But here's the thing. This is a fundamental question we have to ask as Democrats in this primary. Can people just buy elections? Can Michael Bloomberg come in and drop $37 million and suddenly he's really a candidate? That we have another billionaire in the race who gets to buy all these ads? Or are we actually going to build a grassroots movement? The kind of grassroots movement that means we aren't just a country that works for the billionaires. Because what it means is if you have to either be a billionaire or suck up to billionaires to be the Democratic nominee, then buckle up, because the world's going to keep working a whole lot better for billionaires. This government will work better for them. But if you think the alternative is true, that we build this from the grassroots, that's what I've done from the beginning. And I hope Everybody who thinks that's the right way to do it goes to ElizabethWarren.com, pitches in $5 or volunteers an hour or meets up with a group in their locality, because the thing is, democracy is in the balance here. Whether or not this government is just going to keep working better and better and better for those who've already made it big, or whether that 2-cent wealth tax, we're going to say, you got to pitch in to make this country work, not just for those at the top, but universal child care, universal preschool for every kid in this country. Stop exploiting the women, largely Black and brown women, who do this work. Raise the wages of every child care worker in America. Put $800 billion into our public schools. Provide technical school, 2-year college, 4-year college for anyone who wants an education. Put $50 billion into our historically Black colleges and universities, leveling the playing field. And that same 2 cents does all that and lets us cancel student loan debt for 43 million Americans. This is about numbers, it's about money, but it's about our values. And it's about how we think a democracy should work. Are we going to run this place for the billionaires, or are we going to run this country for everyone else? The door has opened just a crack in 2020. We've got such an opportunity, not to go back to business as usual, but an opportunity to build an America. It doesn't just work for those at the top, it works.
Let's squeeze in healthcare, which is the other issue that was in this poll. Medicare for all, polling well among Democrats, not polling as well generally as the wealth tax. Your position now has been to pull away from an immediate enactment of Medicare for all. First 3 years of your presidency, at least, would be a kind of build-in, phase-in. What would be the difference at this point? Legislatively, the real legislative reality difference between the Warren first-term president healthcare plan and the Biden first-term healthcare plan?
So let me start with the first day health plan. And that is, I will do everything a president can do on her own to help people get relief. Because my overall philosophy is people are struggling with health care bills. Millions of people who didn't have a prescription filled, didn't have the lump checked out at the doctor because they can't pay the copay, they can't pay the deductible, it's not covered, even if they have insurance. So my view is, let's give the maximum number of people the maximum amount of help in the shortest period of time. Day one, I will reduce the cost of prescription drugs. You know, the president has the power to do this, march in orders on a whole lot of prescription drugs. I'm going to do it on things like EpiPens and other important drugs, insulin. That will save millions of families hundreds of millions of dollars and help bring down cost in the system. Then, in the first 100 days, let's open up opportunities for people. Lower the eligibility for Medicare so that people who want to leave private insurance or don't have insurance can get onto Medicare if that's what they want to do. Let's make Medicare for all available to everyone. And because I've already got it paid for without raising taxes on middle-class families, we could do this. We could make it free for everybody.
Oh, but watch. Delayed phase-in of Medicare for all.
It's 18. Everyone under 18 can do it for free. A family of 4 can do it for free if their income's under $50,000. But look what that does. It creates opportunity. It creates options for people. Then we get tens of millions of people who figured out that they can get health care, and it's about them and their doctor and their nurse practitioner and their mental health professional and their physical therapist with no insurance company in between. We got a lot of allies. And I think that's when we vote and we get Medicare.
We are running out of time. Let me just leave you with a sign or veto quick question. Say your president, Amy Klobuchar, is still a senator. Amy Klobuchar pushes through a modest bill that includes a public option for Obamacare, no phase-in, no direction toward Medicare for all at all. Would you veto it?
Look, I will sign anything that helps, and I'll keep fighting for more ways to help, because I think that's the right way to do it. That's why I said I will start on day one by lowering the cost of prescription drugs. This is about trying to get some relief to the American people. You know, this has been a big part of my life's work. It's been about trying to get out there and fight for working families. America's middle class has been hollowed out. Working families are under more financial stress than ever. And we have a chance to help them. We have a chance to help on housing and health care and child care and the cost of sending a kid off to school. We need to move forward on that because it's time to stop investing in the billionaires and start investing in the rest of America.
Presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren, thank you for
Good to
joining us
see
once
you.
again. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on the button below for more from The Last Word and the rest of MSNBC.